Before we start the video, I just want to show you guys this shirt that I'm wearing. It's by Atypical Corporation. They are a multimedia group that specializes in photography, videography, graphic design, audio recording, as well as clothing. And you can get this shirt in other colors such as black, gray, white, and pink. And it's not just shirts, you can get a sweatshirt and a hoodie as well. They deliver all around South Africa. And as for photography and videography, it's at the moment exclusive to Gauteng province. If you guys want one of your own, go over to the Instagram page and order yours today. I'll link all their stuff down in the description. Hey God family! So I just want to ask you a question real quick. Do you have an idol in your life? Like, have you idolized something in your life? You put someone on a pedestal, or you put something on a pedestal to the point where that thing and that person have become your entire world, kind of replacing God because your happiness depends on them. Well, I know I've been there once upon a time. Well, in Exodus 20, God tells us to not have any other God before him and to not make any images in the form of anyone or anything and worship them. So in this video, we'll be talking about what that means. I'll be looking at what an idol is, what idolatry is, the different types of idols that we can have in our lives, as well as how we can identify idols in our lives. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I'm God's daughter. This is God's Social Ministries. Check out my other videos, and you can also go check out my other social media pages. Okay, idolatry can be summarized as being the worship of idols, and an idol is any object of extreme devotion. It doesn't have to be a physical object. It could be a person, it could be a concept, but something that you have extreme devotion for. It's anything that is more important to you than God, and anything that you seek to give you what only God can give you. An idol is anything that takes up the place of God as the most important focus and priority in your life. In end, whatever we treasure more than God, whatever drives our thoughts and drives our actions, becomes an idol. So anything can be an idol, and you don't have to physically have to worship it as in oh, praise you. No, it could just be something that you've given your life to basically, and something that you depend a lot on. Like, your happiness depends on you doing that thing, your satisfaction depends on that thing being in your life, So I'm gonna name 6 different types of idols that you can have in your lives, and these are not all of them. These are just general things, the most common ones. And if you guys have any more examples of things that in our everyday lives that can be idols, you guys can just leave it down in the comments. Let us all know. The first one is phones and social media, just like my example. When you use your phone so much to the point where you feel like you can't go a day without using your phone, or you can't go a day without going on social media. You constantly checking your phone every 2 seconds to see if there's an update, to see whether or not someone liked your pictures, to see whether or not you just posted a picture, and now every 2 seconds you're going to check if someone saw it. You're going to check if it's getting the number of likes that you want, if it's getting the comments that you want. You are controlled by social media, or you're controlled by your phone. You feel like you can't live without your phone, or you can't live without going on social media. You can't live without posting. You can't live without commenting on someone's thing. You can't live without socializing with other people on these platforms. The second one is approval. Valuing man's approval more than God's shows where your loyalties lie, and shows who's in control of you. You put so much weight in other people's opinions of you that you actually become a slave to what other people think of you. You want to make people happy, and you want to make them like you so much. Approval can be an idol. Wanting to be liked by everyone. Wanting to make everyone happy, even if it means that you're not happy. Seeking other people's approval. What other people think of you is very, very important to you, and it drives your whole life. That's an idol. The third type of idol that we can have in our lives is relationships and people. In terms of people, it's when you put a person on a pedestal. Let's say you have a crush. That person kind of becomes your whole world. You wanna everything. You just want it to revolve around them. You go to places that they go to, you like the things that they like, you just want them to like you so much, and you are chasing after them so much that they become your whole world. And also relationships, a lot of people idolize relationships. People think that if I can get into a relationship, then I can be happy. If I can just get married, then I'll be happy. But that's the problem. When you idolize marriage in that way, when you tell yourself that, if I get into a relationship, I'm going to be happy. If I get married, I'm going to be happy. Once you get into a relationship and once you get into a marriage and they don't satisfy the things that you are looking for, that becomes a problem. That's when a lot of relationships and marriages end, because people think that relationships and marriages are there to make them happy. That's the thing with a lot of idols, is that they want you to seek happiness in them instead of seeking happiness in God. But when you seek happiness in God, then everything else is very enjoyable. Like, you seek after God first and foremost. When you get into a relationship, you'll understand that that person is not there to make you happy. That person is not there to complete you. That person is not there to be perfect. God already gave you everything that you need. A relationship is just there, to satisfy, to glorify God. The fourth type of idol that we can have in our lives is success, wealth, and jobs. Success, wealth, and jobs. These are people who chase after success, who chase after wealth, money, who commit themselves to their job so much that they forget everything else. When people are constantly working because they're chasing after success, that's an idol. When you're chasing after money so much that you will do anything to get that money, that's idol. That's an idol. It becomes an idol. The fifth thing is health and appearance. Health and appearance. You are constantly at the gym because you want to look some type of way. You are constantly concerned about your appearance. You get people who, if they don't like the way that they look, they're not going to go to church. If they don't like the way that they look, they're not going to step outside. They have to be perfect. They have to be perfect. If they do their hair and one hair is sticking out, I'm not going. That becomes an idol. When everything revolves around that one thing and that becomes kind of your obsession, that's when it becomes an idol. And the sixth thing that a lot of people idolize is sex. People think that, once I can have sex, then I can be this type of person. Once I have sex, I'm going to be happy. Once I have sex, I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to be a man. But that's not it. What a lot of idols do, I think I mentioned this, they try to get you to look for satisfaction in those things and not look for it in God. When you make something your idol, you become consumed completely by it. It drives everything that you do. You become enslaved to it. You become a slave to that thing. Let's say they have a Bible study. Tomorrow night at church, y'all have a Bible study. 6 o'clock, that's Bible study. But now you get to work and you have a project. And because you want success and your job is everything to you, you're gonna make sure that, okay, I need to finish this. I want to finish this tonight. And by the time that the alarm rings that, hey, listen, it's Bible study right now, you're just gonna cancel, and you're no, I'm doing my work, church can wait. It's that type of thing. It consumes you completely. You become enslaved to that thing. All of the idols in our lives are things that we are chasing after to give us the type of satisfaction that we can only find in God. Seeking to be loved. You're seeking to be loved in a relationship. Seek to be loved in God. Seeking fulfillment in success and in your job. Seek fulfillment in God. Seeking satisfaction in social media and seeking satisfaction in sex. Seek satisfaction in God. We seek after these things to fill a void in us. And when we don't seek these things in God, this void never gets filled. It never gets filled. And that's why we find ourselves chasing after them more and more. That's why we find ourselves spending more and more time at work. That's why we find ourselves spending more and more time at the gym. That's why we find ourselves spending more and more time on our appearance, more and more time on the phone, more and more time on social media, more and more time chasing after people. It's because we want people and we want things to fill a void that only God can fill, to fill this empty space in our hearts that only God can fill. And once we start to realize that all these things that we are seeking after in things and in people, the love, this fulfillment, the satisfaction that we are seeking in people and in things, once we realize that when I look for these things in God, everything will work out. Everything will work out. God will give you everything that you need. You need not look for it in other things. Once you experience God's love and you understand what it means to be loved, especially to be loved by God, then you can go out into the world and understand that I am loved. I don't need to look for love in other things. You can love people and you can accept love from people, but you don't depend on someone's love to be happy because you have experienced God's love. Once you experience God, everything else just becomes heaven. You start to understand that I don't need those things. I don't depend on those things to give me what God has already given me. If God has already given it to you, nothing else, no one else can give it to you the way that God can. No one and nothing else can give it to you the way that God can. Please understand that the things that I listed, the phones, the social media, sex, money, jobs, health, appearance, approval, people and relationships, none of that is bad. I'm not saying any of that is bad. I'm not saying cut people off. I'm not saying break up with a relationship. I'm not saying stop working and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. These things are not bad and they're not evil, but it becomes bad and it becomes an idol when everything that you do is revolved around those things. It becomes bad when they take the place of God in your life. When you are seeking approval and you're seeking love and you're seeking fulfillment and satisfaction in those things instead of seeking for it in God. So if you're listening to me right now and you're asking yourself, how do you know if you have an idol in your life? How do you know if you've idolized something in your life? Here's how you can know, right? If you think that you could never be happy without it, then you know it's an idol. If you think that you could never be happy without it, then you know it is an idol. Then you know that you have idolized that person or that thing. When you feel like, I can't live without it, that's when you know it's an idol. Things that are so important to you that you would do anything to get or you would do anything for, then you know it's an idol. Ask yourself 4 questions. These 4 questions created by Lisa Yvonne. Ask yourself these 4 questions so that you know for sure if this is an idol. The first question, are you willing to compromise your beliefs for it? If you are willing to compromise your beliefs for that thing or for that person, then you know that it's an idol. Number 2, will you get angry if you can't do it or if you don't get it? If you are so determined to get what you want that contrary results send you into a tantrum, that item or result is most likely an idol in your life. So, if you don't get that job, if you don't get that promotion, if you don't get that raise, if you don't get the success that you're looking for in whatever, how will you react? The third question that you can ask yourself, do you value it over people? Do you value it over people? Let's look at relationships, for example. A lot of people will tell you that I want to be in a relationship, but they might just have idolized a relationship to the point where when they get into a relationship, the fact that they're in a relationship, that's what makes them happy. The person that they're in a relationship with, they're not that much happy with them. So do you value it over people? Money, do you value it over people? Meaning, will you do anything to get it? Will you abandon the people that you love for it? Will you completely disregard your family just to go get money? The fourth question, does it push you closer to God or pull you further from Him? Anything that pulls you further from God is not from God, and it's not going to get you anywhere. whatever you decide to do in your life and whoever you decide to bring into your life, ensure that they bring you closer to God, because once they pull you away from God, it could be an idol, or it could just be something that the devil is bringing in your direction to distract you from God. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that this was very helpful and that you guys learned something and that your eyes have been opened and that you go out and you live your life completely for Christ and let your life revolve around Christ and Christ alone. As always, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, queries, video ideas, topics, suggestions, do not hesitate to let me know. Just comment them down below, or you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or you can email me. See you guys next time.